Joe Manchin, a Democrat from West Virginia, is joining us. He's on the Senate Armed Services Committee and is currently opposed to military action in Syria. Senator, nice to have you with us today.
Good to be with you, Jenna.
Let's start off with a big question. We've heard President Assad described as a thug. You've referenced him as a demon. The president last night described him as a murderer of children. Why would we trust a child killer with anything, let alone turning over his chemical weapons?
Well, it's not we're trusting him, but if he signs up to the CWSC, which is a Chemical Weapons Commission, there is an organization in place, enforcements, inspections, that we can see that he's doing what he says he's going to do. He's got the world spotlight on him now, and he's got Russia saying that they'll help him do it, to basically get rid of his weapons. So for us not to take hold of this and use the diplomatic sources that we have and all the diplomatic persuasions, trying to bring a peaceful resolution, then a strike, which maybe could lead to a war, it's something that I think we should explore.
You want him to change what we haven't seen in the last 20 years, which is that he hasn't signed on to this, to give up his chemical weapons, to say he's not going to use it. You want him to change his tune in 45 days. Why do you think that's possible?
Well, basically, you're not going to change everything in 45 days, but you can get him to sign up and quit using these horrific weapons on his own people and innocent people. That's the thing. If this is all...
But Senator, what's the message then? That he can go on killing his own people with conventional weapons and we won't do anything?
Well, if you want us to get embroiled into a civil war, then you and I might have a difference of opinion here. I think that being a superpower is going to be greater, Jenna, than just showing your super might militarily. I think you have to have super diplomatic powers, super restraint, super patience, and super humanitarian aid when needed. We can use all of these things, but we have proven, if you believe or anybody watching believes, that after 12 years of being embroiled over in that part of the world, $1.6 trillion, and 7,000 lives being lost directly and 50,000 maimed, that we're going to have a difference and change that part of the world. I believe differently.
Well, as a wife of a veteran that served in those wars, and as someone that works for the press, if you'd like to attack me for the message not being exactly clear, you can go ahead, but it doesn't change the fact that the message isn't clear. Here's what the top national security advisor for the president had to say about diplomacy just the other day before the president's speech. Let's roll that.
The fact is, President Obama has consistently demonstrated his commitment to multilateral diplomacy. He would much prefer the backing of the United Nations Security Council to uphold the international ban against the use of chemical weapons, whether in the form of sanctions, accountability, or authorizing the use of force. But let's be realistic. It's just not going to happen now. Believe me, I know. I was there for all of those UN debates and negotiations on Syria. I lived it, and it was shameful.
Top national security advisor for the president, former UN ambassador for us as well. She says it's not going to work. So why the mixed messages?
I don't know. First of all, let me apologize to you, Jenna. I sure didn't mean to attack you. We might have a difference of opinion here. I don't
have any opinion, Senator. I really am dedicated to being a good journalist. And I feel that these are really important questions to ask. And these are the questions our viewers are asking.
Well, let me tell you how I came to my decision. I went to every briefing I possibly could. I asked every question. I looked for options. Basically, the attack was never to take out Assad regime. So Assad wasn't going to be removed. It was never to secure the chemical weapons that we know are there, and they have confirmed they're there. All it was going to do is take out some of their assets to prevent them from continuing to proliferate war. Russia has said, anything you take out, we will replace. So we had checkmate there. So I didn't see anything of a plan afterwards. If we did strike, what do we do to build a regime? If you look at what happened in Libya, you look at Egypt and all that part of the world, we haven't been successful. And I just have not seen a successful path. I want to try diplomacy. I think it could work. Get the international community to buy in. We're going it alone right now.
Well, let me ask you a point on that. And the conversation about whether the ghosts of past foreign policy affairs is haunting us too much today is a really big question, and one we can discuss at a later date, Senator.
Sure.
But I'm curious about whether or not this vote should take place in Congress and how you feel about that, because it appears that the argument is being made by the president that the reason why we're at the point of diplomacy is that military intervention was threatened in some way. And now we've taken that vote off the table. And one of the things that your resolution would point out is that if this doesn't happen in 45 days, then the president can take whatever he wants to do, whether that's military intervention or not, and just go ahead and do it. So should you move forward with the vote, so the pressure of military intervention is on Assad, is on the Russians to make this work, if it has a chance of working?
Jen, I think there should be a vote. I don't know how the president can come to Congress ask for our input, and then we have no input other than just our opinion and not vote. But also he said, craft a piece of legislation that has diplomacy in it, which is what we're doing, that brings them under the purview of the Chemical Weapons Commission, which is what we have done, and he wants an enforcement. What we did on mine and Heidi Heiskamp's resolution basically said at the end of 45 days, we reaffirmed the War Powers Act that the president already has. He has to make those decisions on what articulating and what type of direct strike might need or might be at that time if he thinks it's still. But we're hoping that we can resolve that before that, but he does not want to take an imminent strike off the table. I don't believe a strike at any time in that part of the world is going to do anything but embroil us in more of what we've seen in the last 12 years.
Senator Manchin, some big questions today. It's always nice to have you on the program, and I look forward to having you back. Thank you very much.